Hello ladies, it's Crafty Kim 62 here, and this is for a challenge that's on my group on Facebook of Simply Craft and Swap. If you remember and you're following me, I asked the girls on the group to look out for Pringle tins. So there's a couple of examples that I've put on that I've made for gifts with people, and they were for two girls at work who have just started their training contract as solicitors. So they've moved to new rooms and new desks, so I gave them a couple of pen holders for their desk. So this is half of a Pringle tin, and if you can imagine, the Pringle tin is this big, and all I've done is cut it down, and the top of the Pringle tin I kept as the base, and the normal one I've just covered it with paper and the decorations. So the inside of this one I haven't lined because this one's going to be for me, and on this one I've put a zip in to make it look a little bit different. So that's the zip, and the paper is from the paper chase. Flat back pearls, resin flower with the rosette ribbon all the way around, and lace top and bottom, side of the zip all the way around. So that'll fit all of the pens and everything else that goes in there. Now a handy little tip, because obviously this was a Pringle tin and we may use gravy tins or amaretto tins, which may be a little bit too almondy for people. So I get these inexpensive scented sheets, and I've sent one recently to Mrs. Tiffany Heggs Morrow, or Mrs. T on her group Craft That Diva, and what I use mine for is that I pop them in to anything that's a little bit unsavoury in smell for a couple of days, and then when you bring it out it smells of your sachet and it keeps smelling of the sachet. So that's a good tip for when you have something that's a little bit older perhaps, and if you're getting some lace that you can't get quite right clean even after you've cleaned it, then wrap it in one of these scented sachets and it'll come out smelling like roses, no pun intended. So that is one of those. As I say, I've got a couple of more examples on the event where I made them for Lucy and Laura, and this one is another one, but as this one was the base, this is the lid, so it should have been like that, but obviously why waste? So in this one I've used double-sided paper and I've made collars. So you can see that the inside of one is this yellow gingham, and then the back is the one that goes round. I've put double layer of lace on the top, coordinating flowers and butterfly in the yellows and creams and whites with the lace at the bottom, and then I've done a lace down the back, so that one's quite pretty as well. And again, that one just simply pops all of the things in, so I'll keep that to one side. So that's those two. And this little one is a sneaky peek of a swap that we're doing. I'll not give too much detail, but there it is. It's just a little sneaky peek. So the Pringle tin, this actually isn't a Pringle tin. This is, it's a vegetarian sauce granule one, and it was green with it being vegetarian. So it comes like this, obviously, with the lid. On this project, if you want to do this one, you don't throw away the lid, you keep the lid, and because you need to get your things inside and out. So when you, all I've done is covered it in the first coat of emulsion, because with it being bright green, the paper may show through that I'm using, but when you come to just use a black marker, and I've used a guideline, I've just gone along the top and I've drawn a line on that side and that side, and then I've got a sharp knife. Be careful with this, and the first line that I cut was the line going down because that was easier for me, and then I stopped at the point that I stopped the permanent marker pen, and again I turned it round and I went down this way because this is the easiest way for myself, and then I finally cut down there. So there at the natural point of where the cut line was, I've bent it back, made a fold, and then I bent it all the way back until it naturally folded in a place. So then that one became there, and as I tucked that one in, I got a natural fold there as well. So you'll end up with something that looks like that. And you're just making the base. I've got my heat gun ready, so I'll just attach this, putting lots on because I want it to be secure. Natural fold line, squeeze it in, press it down nice and firm, and that's your base shape for your ribbon holder. So you'll see that it's got a nice flat square bottom so that it's not going to roll off your desk. It's going to keep everything secure. You've got plenty of space at the top, and then what will happen once it's complete, we'll have all the ribbons enclosed, and I'll pop that on the end. So I've got a couple of more spaces for ribbons to go in, and it's nice and handy to hold onto your ribbons so that they're all fit in nicely. So even if the ribbons are a little bit bigger in their spools, that shouldn't be a problem. I'll just try this one. They still fit in nice, and you can see that one is quite a lot bigger than the spool that I intend to use. So they fit in nicely. I'm going to pause it now, and I'm going to fully decorate it and popping in and out of the video as and when something crops up. See you soon. Hello, I'm back again. Come to do the inside of the lining. Just thought I would give you a quick tip. If you cut your paper that you've chosen, that's going to fit around the outside, but it'll fit in the inside, so measure that. And then what I've done is that I've trimmed it off on one side, and then the pattern that I want to be seen, I roll on the inside, and then if you tuck it in, let it spring, so then you know where it's going to fit. And then can you see where I've got the black permanent marker pen? I've drawn a window so we can see the back of the paper and the ribbons can fit in. So I'm not going to cut along the bottom or the top, and I'm going to go a little way in on the side so I can wrap it around the side here so I can get a nice edge. And this bit is where we're going to go. I'm just going to cut it in the middle so you form a window shape. Cut that to the end. and then you just fold back it there, fold back there. Just going to use my little scissors. I'm just going to snip so I can get it nicely tucked into the edge. Just going to snip into there, snip into there, and then do exactly the same thing. Fold it all up, roll it so it fits in. Let it spring open again. Pop it in. So when you fold this one back, that's going to help you cover that bit and that bit, but these bits I'm going to snip as you would if you were making a round box. Just snip around the sides and then they will fold neatly around the outer side of that piece, so you can finish it off and trim as you go. So that is the stage where we're up to at the moment. That is the inside of the box with the decorative paper. I'll be back in 2 ticks with the next stage. Hello, thank you for waiting. The next stage, you can see that I've lined the inside, tucked it around the 2 outer sides on the stand at the front, and then a little way to the back as well, but the outside's going to be covered, so that's not going to be seen. So the next stage is to use your lid, and you need the smaller, so that is the outer size, and this is the inner size. So it's the inner size that you need, and all you're going to do is draw around the bottom and cut 2 out. So you've got 2 circles of coordinating card, and for that I'm just going to use wet glue. So a good amount of wet glue. Put the pattern in, tuck it underneath. I want more of the pattern shown, so I'm just going to tuck it underneath, squish it down, and you will see with you using the inside it fits perfectly into the lid. So just squishing that down. So that is the lid covered, and this is the base, which is going to be the side. So again, I'm just going to put some PVA glue, wet glue, and that is just going to sit in there too. So I'm just going to and leave that to dry. So you've got the beginnings of the roll. Now you have taken the substance away from the lid, so be gentle when you pop it in. So you've got the side all the way around, and I suppose you could, if you wanted to, if you didn't want to do that, you could just cut the centre out and you could stand it like that, but you wouldn't be able to roll and have your ends nice and handy to pull and use as you go along. I'll just take that out. So this is the stage that you're up to at the moment, and now I'm going to cover the outside and the outside of the end rings. I'll be back in 2 takes. Hello again. Right, the outside's done, the inside done, the lid, the base is all done, and it's now ready to decorate. But I'm not going to put any of the frills and fancies on just yet, because it's going to be a challenge. And then once I've finished mine, I will take a photograph and pop it onto the group, but it's going to have lace and frills and bling all the way around with some homemade flowers on the outside. So that is one side. I'm going to pop that on there, but I'm not going to seal that. But remember, I've had a couple of paints, a couple of covers of paint, and I've also had some paper in there. So that's that, but it's got a nice sturdy square flat bottom, so it'll stand next to the pen holder, tool holder on the desk. This actually took one sheet of 12 by 12, and I did use double-sided, but I wanted to keep it all the same, so I've used this pretty rose one to match that one there. So that is it. It just needs to be prettied up, and I will come back and show you that later once it's all done. I want to spend some time making it all pretty, adding the final touches of the ribbons and the bling, and I'll see you again. So it's Crafty Kim signing off now. Bye bye.